You're watching the Wellness Hour, news that makes you healthier. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, extreme smile makeovers, or what my first guest calls full mouth rehabilitation or full mouth reconstruction. According to him, he says your teeth and gums are never too bad or too far gone to have the smile you've always wanted. With us, we have Dr. Loren Israelsen. Dr. Israelsen, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Randy. I appreciate it. You can call me Dr. Loren. That's what all my patients call me.
Okay, Dr. Loren. So let's begin with what full mouth reconstruction or full mouth rehabilitation, what it means. Give us a working definition. And who's the typical patient?
Yeah, absolutely. So a dental rehabilitation or full mouth reconstruction, it's just a dental term. It's something that we don't really talk to the patients about that. It's more of how do we take somebody's teeth that are in a condition that have been getting worse and worse over time. They're grinding them down. The teeth are breaking. They've got gum disease. They've got gum infection. And it just gets to a point where they're not able to chew. They're not able to smile with confidence. And how do we get them back to where they were 20, 30, 40 years ago? To where they have confidence, to where they feel like they can chew normal. They can be able to eat anything that they want. They can be able to smile with confidence around their friends, their family, their coworkers. That's really what full mouth rehabilitation is.
But is it true that people that your gums are never too bad, your teeth are never too bad to have this great smile?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on, everybody can get the smile that they want.
Okay.
Right? If you've got gum disease and gum infection, that's to a point where if you've got gum disease and gum infection to a point where the teeth are starting to wiggle and fall out and you feel self-conscious about biting on something and chewing something, those can be fixed.
Okay.
Whether it's getting a dental implant or two, some people might need a denture, and there's options that we can go to where you can have a full mouth, you can still have full mouth, a full mouth smile that you're proud of.
Okay. So you have multiple offices. Right.
We do, yes. We have multiple offices around Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri.
Okay, good. Now you travel sometimes between all of the offices?
I do. We have fantastic dentists that have been recruited with a lot of different training in helping patients achieve the smile of their dreams. And so I'll travel between the clinics, helping to do additional training as well, and seeing specific patients.
So at your practice, we've talked on the phone. So you pretty much do everything right there. I mean, you do your own root canals, adult orthodontics, veneers, dental implants. Elaborate on that.
Absolutely. Our doctors are trained in all of those subspecialties of dentistry. They're trained to be able to keep everything in-house. We have great specialists in our area if we need to refer to them and to work with them. But a lot of patients are afraid. They're afraid to come to the dentist.
People don't like going to the dentist, right?
No.
Do you still hear that? Do you ever?
Oh, absolutely.
They say, "Doc, no offense." How do they say it?
They basically say, I hate the dentist. I don't want to come in. My dad's a perfect example. He's deathly afraid of the dentist. Something that happened in his childhood with his childhood dentist, and ever since then, even though his son is now a dentist.
Was it even tough for him to go to you?
Yeah, he still hasn't seen me.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still that afraid of the dentist. And patients, whether it's a confidence issue, where they've been made fun of, and they've been made fun of their smile. Or I had a patient who, she said her grandkids were making fun of her when her teeth came out. And whatever reason it is, people are afraid of what can happen if there's an embarrassing moment with their teeth. I have patients that come in and they want to justify to me as to why they've had these problems, why they've had this gum infection, why they've had these cracked teeth.
Okay.
And to me, I'm like, hey, this is a judgment-free zone. We're not here to judge you. We want to help you get back to a level of confidence so you don't have to feel like you're being judged or lectured. We want to meet you where you're at and help you get healthy. Healthy in a mental aspect, healthy in a physical aspect, because teeth are so important to every aspect of our life.
Now, it doesn't surprise me to hear, coming from a dentist, that you think the smile is like the most important thing. How important is it as you see it?
Yeah, and it's not because I'm a dentist, Randy. Statistically, the thing that you look for in somebody you're dating, in relationships, the first thing you notice and that you see is their smile, right?
Okay.
People's confidence comes from their smile. Universally, the number one thing that the number one thing that is universally recognized around the world is somebody's smile. If somebody smiles in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, we all know how they're feeling and how they're thinking, right? Okay. So it has nothing to do with my opinion as a dentist. I mean, I could bore you with all the statistics of, if you have a good smile and you're able to eat, you're going to be healthy, the rest of your body, all that aside, it's how we feel, right? You take two people that are interviewing together, twin sisters.
Okay.
Right? Same education, same qualifications, they both got a gap in their front teeth. One of them is self-conscious and not willing to smile, and then the other one just beams and is which one are you going to hire?
Yeah, well, probably the person that's smiling. If one's not smiling and one is, you hire the one that at least looks happy.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Or confident.
And even if they both have,
Good point.
even if they both have the same qualifications and they're going to work the same, like, you want the person that seems happy, seems confident, seems ready to go and help represent your company, right? So that's an aspect of why a smile is important. Anytime you're looking at pictures, right? What's the first thing that everybody looks at? Who's smiling?
Okay.
And is there somebody that's not smiling? I have patients that come in, and one of the things that they're now thinking about is, hey, I've got a wedding coming up for my son or my grandson, and I haven't smiled in 10 or 15 years, right? I want to be able to smile at this wedding. The smile is the window to somebody's soul. It's how you connect with people. And if
Do you spot people around town that aren't smiling? Like, could you tell, as a dentist, like they don't like their smile? Can you spot it?
Absolutely. That's a huge part of it's a blessing and a curse as a dentist when I'm around town and I can notice who's not confident and happy in their smile. But the opposite's true as well. People with bad teeth are judged, and a lot of times judged unfairly, right?
What do you mean?
Well, if you think about it, in any Hollywood movie, when they want to make somebody look homeless or like a drug addict or poor, they give them bad teeth, right?
Okay.
They've got gaps in their teeth. They just have bad teeth overall. And
so people unfairly judge them.
And people unfairly judge them, absolutely. In the last few years with the pandemic, I had a lot of patients who were happy to have the mask mandates. They didn't want to.
They liked the mask.
They liked the mask because they didn't want to have to show their smile. They felt way more confident when they could be covering their smile up and it wasn't judged by other people around them.
They told you this?
Yeah, absolutely. I got that every single day during the pandemic. Patients would come and say, I'm so glad that we have the mask mandate right now. We don't have to be able to show my smile, because they're judged. They're judged by their family, they're judged by their coworkers, and they're afraid that they're going to be judged by their dentist, which is one reason they don't come in. So it's not because I'm a dentist that I feel like a smile is the most important thing. I see these patients day in and day out who are afraid. They're so afraid to be able to let that part of their life out, right? And when I can see the transformation, when they go from a spot of fear and not knowing if their grandkids or their kids or their spouse. I had a patient who, she came in and she hadn't ever told her husband that she had a denture.
Okay. Wow.
It had been over a decade, and he had no idea that she had a denture, and her denture was starting to break, and she was beside herself with fear that he was going to find out. And we talked about different options for helping her restore her smile and get it to a spot where she'd be confident and happy again. But just examples like that where a patient has zero confidence in all aspects of their life, that affects you.
Okay. And so when you fix their teeth, you see changes in their personality?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They come in and now they're smiling and they're cheerful, and it makes so much of a difference. It makes so much of a difference.
What do they like more? The way it looks or the fact that they could eat again?
It's really both.
Well.
It's really both, Randy. Like I had a patient who came in and he was chewing on just a couple of teeth in the back, right? And he tried to bite stuff off with his front teeth, and so now his front teeth were starting to chip and break as well. Okay. He just wanted to be able to eat again. But then once we fixed his smile, and he came in and he had all the confidence in the world. He was he told me how he was able to smile more confidently around his family and smile more confidently in photos. So a lot of times patients will come in for one reason, and then they'll realize that it's really, it affects more than just that aspect of their life. So once he started smiling, 20 compliments later, he can't stop smiling. And
they want to show it off.
Absolutely.
Selfies on Facebook, I guess, or Instagram.
Yes. And he's coming into the office, and he won't stop talking to the front desk girls because he wants to be able to show off his smile. And then he's going around town and he's showing all of his friends and his family. And those are the aspects of fixing somebody's smile that make it so rewarding, to see how they came in to be able to chew better and to be able to function in their life better. But now they have a lot more confidence in every other aspect of their life.
You say many of these people with the really bad teeth, really bad gums, that they have a bacterial infection, that brushing and flossing for some of them is just too late.
Yeah.
That you have to do a deeper cleaning or something else. Okay, explain that.
Yeah, so once it gets to a point where it becomes a bacterial infection in their gums, brushing and flossing isn't going to do away with that.
Okay.
But it can be stopped. It can be halted in its tracks. And if there are teeth that have become too loose and are falling out at that point, we can fix those with bridges or dental implants in the back and help them get to a point where now they're able to use those teeth again, right? And they don't have to worry that every time they bite into something crunchy or hard, that am I going to break this tooth out? Is this tooth going to fall out of my head? That's the fear that these patients have, and those things are very, very correctable if we can catch it early enough. If we can catch it early enough, it makes it a lot easier.
Okay.
But at any point in the process, these patients can definitely be helped.
Now, for people just tuning in, we're talking about full mouth reconstruction, extreme smile makeovers. My guest, Dr. Loren here, says that your teeth and gums are never too bad to have the smile you've always wanted. Now, some people just aren't ready for a full mouth of extractions, according to you, and new teeth supported by implants. So you do a combination of procedures on some of these people. Tell me about that. Yeah, so
not everybody needs to go straight into dentures, right? I'll have patients that come in and they say, hey, I expect that I'm just going to need dentures at this point. That's what my mom or dad, they got dentures, or my grandparents, and that's what they're expecting and they're thinking. But in reality, there are a lot more ways that we have today to be able to help people get back to confidence in their smile.
So do you ever have patients that go into you and say, I know that all my teeth have to be pulled out, and you save their teeth?
I have patients who come in and they're afraid that they're at a point where they have to have all their teeth taken out. And depending on the situation, we can save some or all of the teeth, with periodontal work and cleaning up that gum infection and that bacterial infection that's in the gums. We can get the teeth stronger and do crowns or a couple of implants here or there, or a bridge, and be able to get them to a spot where they don't have to have all their teeth taken out.
Now, sedation. Because nobody likes going to the dentist because, like I said, it hurts a little bit, the noises and the sounds. You're big on sedation.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the fear, people don't want to get the work done, which is often a reason why some of the problems with their teeth get worse, because they're avoiding it and they're afraid of getting it done. So we have options from nitrous sedation, where you come in and
that's the gas.
Yeah,
right?
That's the gas. So you come in and when you're on the nitrous sedation, you're not, maybe you hear things going on around you, but you don't really care, right?
Okay. And then you could pull people out of that really fast?
Absolutely.
They can still drive home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. You don't have to have a ride. The nitrous is out of your body within a few minutes after you're done. Next, we have oral sedation, and that's great for people when they've got a lot more work that needs to be done. They need to have crowns or bridges or some implants done, and they don't want to remember what happened.
Okay.
And so you can take that the night before or the morning of and get all that work done, and then you don't have to remember it. You don't have to remember the sound of the drills.
They don't have to have their mouth open for 2 hours. To them, it seems like 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah. We had a patient just a couple days ago. We had to do a full mouth reconstruction on him. He came back in a few days later, and he said he didn't remember anything.
Okay.
And his wife had been sitting there the whole time. He was talking with us, making jokes at times. His wife was sitting there holding his hand the whole time, and he was making sarcastic jokes to her. He said, "Hey, honey, don't pay these people. They're doing mean things to me." As we're doing this reconstruction on his mouth, but then he comes back in a few days later, and he doesn't remember any of it.
And he's happy. What's the next level up?
The next level up for those that need it is IV sedation. which is a great way to go for some of these a lot of these bigger procedures. They're under for 2 or 3 hours.
Okay.
But then they get a ride home, and they feel like once they've woken up that it's been 5 or 10 minutes.
Is that right?
And they're waking up with their brand new smile. And so it's extremely safe as well. You can be pulled out of the sedation very quickly. We're monitoring all of their vitals, their blood pressure, their pulse, and everything to make sure that they're very safe during that procedure. And we have somebody that can come in and do that for them.
So when you do these full mouth rehabilitations and they're under sedation or some type of sedation, you say for some people it is life-changing. Sounds like a bit of an overstatement.
It's extremely life-changing. A lot of these people have been struggling for years and sometimes even decades.
Okay.
Like one patient who came in and she had lupus, right? And so she's on a lot of different medications that were causing dry mouth. And every time she'd go to the dentist, she had another cavity or another tooth that needed a crown, another tooth that was breaking. She was getting to the point that she was afraid to chew. She was afraid to go out and smile because she thought her teeth were going to break and fall out, right?
Okay.
And so we were able to do a full mouth reconstruction for her to a point where now she can eat whatever she wants. She has diabetes. Prior to that, she was eating things that were not very healthy, right? Everything that you can eat with bad teeth is not something that's good for your overall health. So her diabetes was improving. Her ability to go out and interact with her family is improving, and her
because what, she's eating like fibrous foods.
She's eating fibrous foods. She's able to eat nuts and meats and other things that fruits and vegetables that were just too difficult before. So health-wise, she's changed, and just her overall confidence. Now she could smile. When she came in, she was smiling every single time she could. That was very life-changing for her. Another guy named Mike, he was in auto sales, and he told me he was going to some conferences and he'd lost his partial dentures, and he was horrified. He was able to wear a mask, and that helped to mask some of his fears. But him going from a point of not being confident in being able to talk to people in his everyday job, to where after his full mouth reconstruction, he felt more confident in talking and smiling and interacting with those at his company was massive for him. I had this other patient who was a school teacher, and he felt like his students were judging him because of his bad teeth, right? Discoloration, broken teeth, gaps in his teeth. He didn't want to interact with him as much because he was afraid of what they would think of his teeth.
Okay.
Which affects if you can't interact with your students, that's massive as a school teacher, right? And so for him, with a combination of procedures, we were able to give him an extreme smile makeover to where now he could confidently go out in public and at his work and interact with his students without fear of being judged, right? And when he first came in, and he was hopeless, right?
Hopeless?
He didn't feel like there was anything that could be done. But now that he's got his, the smile that he used to have back when he was much younger, he feels much more confident, and his main regret is that he didn't do something earlier.
Is that right? Now, a lot of people come in, like you say, I'm going to use your term, hopeless, like without hope. Do they come in and say, Doc, this is the worst you've ever seen? Do they oftentimes feel like nothing could be done?
A lot of patients feel like they are the worst case scenario, and that there's no way that we've seen something this bad ever, right?
So they'll say, Doc, this is the worst you've ever seen.
This is the worst you've ever seen. I'm so embarrassed. I'm sure I'm the worst patient that you've ever had walk through this door, and that's definitely not true.
Okay.
There are so many different options to be able to help patients in every aspect, whether they're missing almost all of their teeth, or they're just missing one or two, or they've got a lot of gum infection and bacterial infection in their gums. There's always something we can do with a variety of procedures to get them back to where they have full confidence in their smile. So
in your offices, you're big on technology. You actually have a printer that actually makes teeth, that prints out the teeth.
Yes. Yeah, so a lot of the things that patients were afraid of in the past, the goop and the sounds and the smells, all those things can be alleviated with a lot of the technology we have. We have 3D printers that can actually print the teeth, like you were mentioning, in the room next to where you're getting your teeth worked on. So you can come in, we can do a 3D scan, a CAT scan of your mouth. Instead of getting the goop in your mouth, we have a little scanner that will go in your mouth and create a 3D rendering of all your teeth. You merge those together, and we can design a smile for you that's able to be made, next door in the other room almost immediately.
So you have patients in their 80s that are getting extreme smile makeovers.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Absolutely. We have patients in their 70s, 80s, and even older that are getting smile makeovers and getting their teeth back. It's a big thing at every single age to be able to feel confidence in your ability to chew and eat, right?
Okay.
A lot of these patients come in and they say, I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to eat corn on the cob. I'm not going to be able to eat apples. I'm not going to be able to eat steak. And what am I going to do? Like, what if I have to go into a denture? What will I be able to eat these things anymore? My grandmother, she's about to turn 97.
Wow.
When I was in dental school, she had a couple of teeth that were going bad. And her dentist in Utah told her that you're too old. You can't fix any of these, and you won't be able to get implants here and whatnot. In her entire life, she's been afraid of having to have dentures, and she doesn't want to get to that point.
She only had 2 bad teeth.
She only had 2 bad teeth.
Okay.
Yeah, she only had 2 bad teeth, but they were getting to a point where they would have to be pulled, and
she couldn't eat.
And she couldn't eat.
Okay.
Yeah, she wouldn't be able to eat apples. She wouldn't be able to eat any of her favorite foods that are very important to her as a 95, 96-year-old. And so he said, no, that's probably not an option for you. And she found a dentist in her town that was able to help her with that. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you're healthy enough to walk in our door,
okay,
you're healthy enough to get your teeth fixed. So they gave her just 2 implants, and now she's able to eat everything as if she had her regular teeth before that. And now she's 97 and she's eating whatever she wants. She can eat apples, she can eat carrots, she can eat any kind of meat that she wants. And that's been a massive part of her ability to have confidence in herself.
You say people, like most of the people that come in and get a full mouth reconstruction, they have hated their teeth for maybe 10, 20, 30 years.
Yes, and they've been thinking about it for even longer than that, right? But in the last 10, 20 years, their teeth are getting worse and worse and worse, and they're starting to get more teeth that are cracking, and they're getting more and more afraid. So that's the time when they should have done it a lot earlier, and and a lot of times when they come in and they get this work done and they get a full mouth reconstruction done, they wish they had done it earlier because they've lost out on a lot of years, right? A lot of years of building relationships, a lot of years of just feeling good about yourself, and a lot of years of good food.
So they're really never too far gone.
It's never too far gone.
Bleeding gums, bad breath, bad gums. So even with bad gums, you could do this?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We can clear up that gum infection. Through a variety of procedures, we can clear up the gum infection, the bacterial infection that's there, and help them get back to a point where they're proud of their smile, it's functional, and they're ready to go out and be a new self again.
What's it like when you do this extreme smile makeover and they look at themselves in the mirror for the first time?
It's an extremely powerful experience when I see these patients, and oftentimes with their spouse there with them, and they look in the mirror for the first time, and them and their spouse both break down in tears.
Is that right?
Because they know it's something that they have been holding on to for 10 and 20 and 30 years. And pain, the pain that comes along with it, the physical and the mental and the emotional pain that comes along with it. And they look in their smile for the first time and they don't have pain. And they love their smile and they realize that this is the first day of the rest of their life.
I like what you said, how they didn't even know they could look this good.
Yeah.
Like they look, it's hard for them to even picture themselves like this.
It changes their facial structure, right? So like what they've been looking at in the mirror, oftentimes they're not smiling in the mirror. And when you don't do that for a long time, it changes the musculature of your face. And so when they look in the mirror and they smile big, and then they continue to smile, it just gets better and better and better. And they come back and they look like a new person.
And and we were talking off camera though, that it's gratifying for you. Like when you see like how happy they are.
Yeah.
Do you ever get choked up?
I get, absolutely. And me and my staff, you want to be the first one in there to be able to see it and see the reaction on both the patient and their spouse's face to see, how powerful it is for them. And it just makes everything worth it. I had this other patient who came in and she'd been having dental problems her entire life. She'd had fillings after fillings, and then she ended up needing root canals and crowns and bridges, and then failed bridges, gum disease, bacterial infection in her gums, and she was at a point where she just didn't feel like there was any hope for her.
Because it's also like a waste of money, isn't it?
For
them, and do they feel that way?
She felt like she had invested so much in her mouth, and at this point, there was nothing left to do.
Okay.
And she wanted something that, how do I just get this back? How do I get back what I had 30 and 40 years ago? And so we talked through the options, and there were options that she didn't even know existed. She'd been an avid dental patient because of all the existing dental problems she'd had. And with that, even with all the research she'd done, there were options that she didn't even realize were a possibility.
Okay.
And when you look at her initially, you wouldn't think that this would even be something she'd be interested in. And when we start talking through those things, she's like, "I'm ready. Let's do it. I can get started right now." With a combination of procedures, we were able to give her the most beautiful upper and lower teeth and smiles that she could imagine, that she didn't think was even possible. And it's examples like this where patients are able to go from that space of life is, it's impossible to achieve the life that I want. It's impossible to achieve the life that I want with my smile and with my relationships and with work. And now at a point where she's just back to her old self again. And I want to make sure that I mention this. There are tens of thousands of patients who hate their teeth, whether it's a little bit crooked here, whether the bite is off, they're missing a couple of teeth here and there. And there are so many options that they can have to be able to get the smile of their dreams.
Okay.
And a lot of times they just don't know what is available. So I'd like to invite people to come in and visit, and we could just sit down and talk about what the options are. Like the lady who'd had a lot of problems in her past, she just didn't know what all the options were. And sometimes that's what's stopping patients from being where they're at, where they hate their teeth and they hate their smile and they're ashamed of it, to where they can feel very confident in their smile. So, we can sit down, and like I said, it's a judgment-free zone.
So start with a consultation. Do you recommend they go to the website and get a consultation there, or just call?
Yeah, just go to the website, or the phone number's on the website, and give us a call, and we'll get you in, and we can sit down, do a consultation with you, and talk about what all the options are.
And most of what you do, everything we've talked about, you do in-house, all right there.
Yes.
And so your goal is, even though you said that you have good oral surgeons, periodontists, and endodontists, et cetera, but you do it all right there.
Yes.
So is your goal to kind of avoid sending them out?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Good stuff.
Thank you, Randy.
Appreciate it. You've been watching the Wellness Hour, news that makes you healthier. I'm Randy Alvarez. For now, I wish you good health.